What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Plastic Arts Podcast, a show where we break down the video game news of the week and or 3 years. Gavaroni Jones.
Has it really been 3?
It's been 1.5. It's been 84 years.
Sounds right.
But we're back. Gavin, how you been?
I've in 3 years.
Can you sum up the last year and a half? And I'll give you 10 seconds.
Boobs.
Yeah, I'm at negative and or 1 boob, I guess.
No, it's been, it's good to be back, though.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
How was your New Year's, at least? How was your New Year's holiday?
It was good. Very, very chill. Not waking up wondering what house I'm at or anything like that. But
Did you used to do that?
I think there was one time at your house I woke up surprised I was there.
I think at our last place too. At one point, I remember this memory is burned into my brain because our dog Lilu decided to sleep on your stomach or chest.
Yeah, I think it was that time. But that actually, now that I think about it, I don't think that was New Year's. I think that was Halloween.
It might
I think I was in like half of my Ghostbusters outfit.
One of them, you were basically dead. It was maybe our wedding at our house. You showed up basically dead because you had to officiate it.
Yeah.
And you still but maybe this was before or during COVID, something like that, where it's like we didn't realize. It's like, oh, we probably should just stayed home. Or it was that important where you're just like,
I think it was the Halloween after that, because that Halloween, I don't think I showed up. I bought the costume for that and then showed up, officiated, and went out.
Yeah. That was bad. But you mustered up the strength to get it done.
Yeah, but you've had an exciting time in that year. You started your own business.
I did. Yeah. And it's going. It's currently going. But yeah, I think that's why we took the break. And it was good to kind of stop for a bit.
Yeah.
I think. And then kind of getting everything back into like some kind of dependable, like just schedule, and then realizing like, I want to do this again. Let's get back to it.
Yeah.
Everyone's been asking us, I keep getting all these letters in the mail, and from prisoners asking us to get the pod back up, and now we're back. So.
All those prisoners. They're mostly on the like prison dating websites, and then
I have told them all I will marry them, so I will have to figure that out in about a year when they get out. But yeah.
This could work. I've seen these shows. They're very desperate. So
it's kind of one of the other comedy podcasts I'll listen to. They'll go over, and it's a great freaking idea, but they'll go over these there's like a dating app for prisoners, and they'll submit their video.
Okay.
And then they'll have these comics watch the video and think before like they announce what they've done, like, what do you think they're in for? And it's always like these like innocent, cool, chill dudes end up being like mass murder or whatever. Like it's something nuts.
Ooh,
and then the crazy guys are in for like something like, Grand Theft Auto or whatever.
Sure.
It's just such a weird like dynamic, and trying to piece together what the person did based on what they look like. It's pretty awesome.
That sounds great.
Gavin got a chat here, tweet, comment. Is that how, I don't know how YouTube works anymore for messages. It says, aha, I made you drink out of a skull beer bong from Future Corpse.
Oh, hey, Future Corpse. How's it going? A skull beer bong. What?
Was this a human skull?
Skull beer bong? A skull beer bong. I've also forgotten the entirety of everything that's happened since we last.
Were you a Viking in your past life? And so this was like your fallen enemy that you drank your drink out of.
Beer bong. Did we not do that at one of your guys' parties?
Maybe. You know what? I think we did.
I think so.
I just think of like with comments coming up, people saying like, remember you ran over that kid with your car. It's like you could say anything and be like, I guess I did run over that kid with my car. Like you have to go back to your old memory.
Yeah. And I think we then proceeded with a conversation about how great beer bongs are.
They are for getting the job done.
Yes, absolutely. Just makes whatever beer you're drinking way more smooth.
They should have did that with the COVID vaccine. Just have beer bong set up. It's like, here, it's in here, but this is how we're going to deliver it.
That's what you get instead of a lollipop. So while you're
at the end of it, or
the people that are hesitant, like if you don't like if you can get the beer down faster than the injection, you don't have to take the whole thing.
Here's an ice cold Coors at the end of it, dude.
I'm actually down for this.
And a Wendy's, freaking Dave's Double. Sign me up.
What is a Dave's Double?
Oh my god, it's a double cheeseburger from Wendy's.
That's it.
Yeah, it's got the fixins and stuff in it. It's not just like a plain one.
But why would you pick this over the Baconator?
That's the Dave's Double's my go-to.
Does it have 3 buns?
No, I'm not about that bun life. Like I just
Okay.
want one at
Okay.
the top, one at the bottom, like a
Mhm.
bookend. I don't need a bun in the middle. I've
Okay.
never been a Big Mac fan. I'd rather have a patty replacing that. But yeah, Dave's
Yes.
Double is the way to go. The Baconator is good. It's just fast food bacon never
Yeah.
calls out to me.
Yeah.
It's like
Like even Five Guys, which I feel like is like the top of the burger food chain, like their bacon still isn't that good.
I know what people really are big on Five Guys, but it wasn't anything to write home about for me.
Well,
They're-
you're wrong.
Yeah, I understand that. And that's one thing I've never tried. So yeah, when you were Ghostbusters. So,
Okay. Okay. All right.
this is also the Future Corpse, the tagline thing. It's like, I don't know who that is, but it's somebody that we know. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure it's not. Yeah.
They'll let us know.
Somebody in my past or a ghost. But with you mentioned Five Guys, Wendy's, which I think is right now the king for our area for fast food.
Mhm.
But there's stuff like in LA, there's the big burger
Oh,
spot.
In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, and it's like I haven't tried that. I'm sure it'd be really dope.
I had a bad experience when I went there. I just thought it was fine, and
Yeah.
everyone's just like talking it up. Maybe it's because I didn't get it animal style, but
That's with no bun.
I think that's where they like cover it in onions
Or
and
they put you in a cage
sauce.
and force feed the burger to you.
Yes,
As a-
but it's through somebody else's butthole. We're human centipeding.
Gotcha. I'll pay extra for that. Future Corp says Baconator supremacy. Yes.
Okay, all right.
That's.
fair.
I mean, I'll get it in your honor tonight for sure.
I
Little
mean,
chicken nuggets
I
is
will-
high.
Their chicken nuggets are where it's at. I might get some chicken nuggets.
Yeah, we might cut it short right now and just go to
It's
Wendy's.
gonna turn into a mukbang stream.
Oh, dude, that's been huge. Let's do that.
Has it? I hear the new huge thing is just like showing almost your titties.
I can do that.
So
I
can
can-
we?
I can make it work.
think I can squat down and we can make this work.
Did you see Twitch? They lightened up their nudity, whatever.
And then
issues.
immediately slammed it back down.
Did they?
Yeah.
I just saw the first thing. It was like, cool. I took my shirt off. and
Well, I like
celebrated.
the idea. It was like now I'm not all the way on board up to date with this, but like my understanding it was like artistic. So if you're drawing, you could draw these artistic nudes, and people are like, "Sweet, let's not be artistic with it. It's just gonna be people's junk." And so I think it was less than 24 hours. They banned a whole bunch. But that's the crappy thing is like, and some people would say like, "Hey, some of these people that were banned, like this was tasteful."
Yeah.
Artistic nudes, and they're still banned today.
Interesting. So they're not going back and like retroactively.
Yeah,
It's just whatever's happening now.
yeah. So I feel like that's very unfair. If you were banned for you changed the rules,
Yeah.
we thought within our guidelines you've banned us for 30 days or whatever. Which I didn't realize a big thing with those 30-day bans is if you have subscribers and they're automatic, if you get banned for any amount of time, it makes it so they no longer automatically sub. So
Whoa.
you can just like
You can lose everybody.
yeah, you can lose everybody and they don't even know.
What the heck?
Yeah. So it's a rough ban hammer.
It's frustrating, like not being in that streaming world. Like I guess when we were, active, still trying to chase that, but not being like where it's like that's our income kind of thing. That's got to be huge. Where you're really just
Yeah.
it's up to them, whatever these companies decide, whatever their terms are,
Yeah.
and they'll change it, on you. And but now there's a lot of competitors. Like there's something called Kick. Have you heard of that streaming?
Yeah,
site?
I hear it's where like if you want to watch illegal like movies or whatever, or
Oh.
just like
Sign me up.
not like illegal movies, but just like
Yeah.
pirating content through somebody's. But
Okay.
they're gonna get caught eventually. Also, the point that somebody else made is it's run on Amazon servers. Kick
Oh,
is
Really? Did
Yeah.
they own that?
no,
Oh,
but they're paying for these servers to run it,
Oh.
so it's like they got to put up extra money just
Okay.
to do daddy Amazon.
So yeah, that's something I just knew from when we got back into it, looking up on just doing research and stuff. That Kick
Yeah.
is like another alternative streaming service, and then TikTok. That's the big one that I'm a fan of, and also like I've fully realized like that's where everyone's at.
Yeah.
And you're not on there. You're still opposed to TikTok, even though I will absolutely agree to them taking over the country, and then we'll just be president of TikTok. I get that.
Exactly.
But one thing I see, it's not related at all to what we're talking about. One thing I'll see on their lives a lot now is people streaming Guitar Hero. Like every third person that's live on there is streaming Guitar Hero
On TikTok?
on TikTok. It's huge. It's like it's coming back. Even before the Fortnite thing, they integrated the whole Guitar Hero stuff. I don't know if you've seen that.
I thought I heard whispers of this and then immediately forgot about it. What
Oh, it's been happening.
What's the Guitar Hero
With
Fortnite?
Fortnite commissioned Harmonix to do some kind of Guitar Hero mode into YNT says poo poo. I agree. They commissioned Harmonix to include some kind of
Oh, that's right, because they own them.
Yeah, do they? Epic?
Yes.
I went down it.
I forgot about that. I was just talking about this with my coworker today because I find out what.
So I say commission. They just said do it, and they
Yeah,
all right.
basically. I mean, that's still commission.
But it's like it's a Guitar Hero esque, like a bastardized version where you're using your controller to do it.
Can I build with my guitar? Can I
No,
crank
it's just
90s by doing one of those like guitar flips
Yeah.
around my shoulders?
I wish, man, that'd be awesome. But no, it's just like a separate mode where you're just doing something that's sort of like Guitar Hero. But even before that, it's been something that's been rising where people are streaming on TikTok and they're having a Guitar Hero. One dude I watched the other day had a controller, or no, sorry, keyboard, and he's just typing on his keyboard, still playing Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah.
But it's like it's seen this huge upswing of like popularity, which for a while it was dead. I mean, it was big when we were younger.
Yeah.
When it first came out, and then it had its stride, and then it just like you can give these plastic peripherals away.
Absolutely not. No.
And now people are digging them up, trying to find them on eBay and stuff.
I think IGN says they still have a storage room full of plastic instruments.
Well, they're sitting on some cash because like if you try to buy them now, it's tough.
Huh.
What they need to do is actually make them again. Because I'll have there's just like this new generation of kids, like my nephews, I think, they never got to see that experience. And it's
Absolutely.
it's awesome. It's like it does get old, and we got old where it's like it lasted too long. But like for those kids that don't have that, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense if you combine it with Fortnite then, because they're already a conglomeration of like everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got Lego. So, and there was already wasn't there a Lego Rock Band or something? I know Rock Band's slightly different.
I don't know.
So,
I might have fever dreamed that, but
or am I thinking of Beatles? I don't know.
Yeah, they did. Everyone put that Beatles, Aerosmith, all the big like bands that nobody listens to anymore. They had Rock Band and Guitar Hero had that for sure. YNT says no and poo poo again. I wonder if they're just not a fan of the Fortnite conversation or whatever. But
they like poo poo.
Who doesn't?
Speaking of guitars, though, did you watch any of like the New Year's Eve stuff, like what Ryan Seacrest or whatever his name is?
You know what? I actually tried, but for some reason they're really not on board with like YouTube streaming. It seems like it's hard to like watch it live if you don't have a dumb freaking cable subscription, which we all would basically have now with all the different apps and whatever.
Because I watched it on YouTube.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. I might have I couldn't, figure out my Wi-Fi or whatever. I should have called my mom to unplug my router for me, and then I would have figured it out.
But the thing I was shocked, who's the band that sings
Imagine Dragons?
American Idiot. It's
Green Day. I might know where you're going with this.
Yeah, so they had them up there, and like 3 of the 4 band members look like they are in their late 40s.
The drummer, he's looking real tough. Yeah, it's
both
really
of the guitarists too, but then the singer looks like he is 16, and I don't know what he did to do that.
Yeah, he's in the Illuminati for sure. Yeah, for some reason, and I watched just little clips of them playing, and my eyes always go to the drummer because it's hard for. He's just like he's got to accept growing old. I don't know if he has
because
yet.
of all the makeup he has.
The makeup is just tough,
look
man.
Weirdly smooth.
Yeah, it's like you have to kind of lean into it when you're getting that old.
Yeah, we'll still watch. Yeah.
But they were the news because I don't know if it was the news or just one article that I seen the headline of, but they changed something.
Yeah,
with the word MAGA in it.
Yeah, and it was so short that if somebody hadn't told you that they changed it, you would have missed it.
Newsflash, it's Green Day. You think they're gonna be pro Trump? Of course not. So it's like it was just like a gotcha headline troll thing. I was like, okay, is anybody really upset about that? I'm sure not. Because that fan base isn't. They're not upset. They're like, oh, first Bud Light, now Green Day. It's like, no, they're not. They don't really care. They're not there for that, and that's fine. I don't care.
It's going to be the same people upset that Rage Against the Machine was raging against the machine.
Yeah, I've seen various like political groups. It's always like right wing that will use. One of them for sure was Rage Against the Machine, and other bands that are like very much not about that, and they'll use their songs. They're like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah,
it happens all the time.
Well, should we get to the news?
Gavin, we're breaking down the last year. We could do the last year and a half, but it's like old news is old news.
Yeah, we got a lot. This last year was possibly like as far as like games coming out.
Yeah,
one of the best years in gaming.
It was dope
for game developers. Not so much.
You know what? Before we went dark, Elden Ring came out, and I tried it for the first time
Yeah.
about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And Papa did not like it. I was confirmed in my thoughts about the game. And
if
luckily,
any of them were gonna do it, it was that one though.
yeah, it was that they had the best chance of trying to call out to me, but still not really, because like you play the game, it's a Souls game. It's
Sure.
hard as shit. They don't tell you what to do. There's a million different components, which I went in knowing that, and I was still trying to, play ball. And it's just, and I'll give it another shot for sure. I didn't give it a fair shake, but it was just like, I could tell right away it's very much not what I want. But I knew that, but I was still like, okay. But I waited at least 2 years for it to drop to $30.
Sure. I didn't realize
it took a while.
It's been 2 years.
A year and a half ish. Yeah. It might be actually, since Elden Ring launch, it might be actually 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, which, 2.5, because what was it? The last Game Awards when you have the kid sneaking on
the stage?
Yeah, talking about
Bill Clinton
Rabbi Bill Clinton. Oh, what a moment.
YNT says, play Fortnite with me. Yeah, I'll get right on that. I'll do that right now with Gavin next to me. We should play Fortnite together. I've been playing a lot of it, actually, lately.
I don't know. There's like one of the people we hang out with in Tri-Cities is like, I can play Fortnite.
It's fun, man. You know what? I dropped it for since we were a podcast, I dropped it. Wasn't really playing much. My nephew seems like they were kind of getting out of it. And that was really my tie back to Fortnite, because it was a way to just stay in the loop with them. But I jumped back in fairly recently when they added the different modes and stuff, but really they did the OG map where they went back to the original first launch map.
Oh, right.
That was cool, but they also added different attachments to guns that you can find. So there's more of a red dot or something that feels more like Call of Duty, where it's sort of first
because they didn't have those before the attachments, right?
No, they have been playing with that for the past couple of months, but there's more consistent where you can find these attachments, and it reminds me of a first person shooter, and that's what makes it fun to me. And there's also a no build mode, because I'm freaking 90 years old. I can't crank 90s anymore. My knees pop when I do that. I can't bend, so I can't keep up with these young kids, and they're all building. It's I don't like building. They have the no build mode.
They still got enough complication though without building, because last time I popped in, I was like, I'm going to pop in, we're going to try it out. And they had a hammer that if you hit the hammer, then you shoot back 5 football lengths backwards. So then you got to spot your
There's definitely stuff like that for sure.
You got your Spider-Man webs, you're shooting webs all over the place, throwing ropes.
Yes, exactly. They still have that stuff. And in that, but without the building, you're able to kind of handle that aspect of it still as an older person. These young kids are just they absorb it, which I get, because when I was younger, I think maybe I was more in the mindset of learning these different mechanics all the time.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's a side thought, but I wonder if when this generation grows up, if they realize they were keeping up with stuff way faster than we were. With these games coming out, they're just all the different mechanics thrown at them that are pretty complicated.
I assume they know.
Because they're able to keep up and just move with it and not think about it.
I mean, you get that neural plasticity. You get your brain that's just hey, how do I be a brain? And they're here's Fortnite. And it's that seems like being a brain.
And they get a summer break and a winter break, which we don't get as adults anymore.
We need that. We need that back. I'm missing mine. It's weird that it's Happy New Year. Just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
Don't stop.
Yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. But yeah, Fortnite's not bad.
Yeah,
I will say that. But we'll get into some of the stuff that's happened.
I forgot to bring. You mentioned. I see on here we have Google Stadia. I forgot when I was digging through my garage, and I found the Stadia controller still in box that you gave me.
Put that on YouTube.
Somehow you had
YouTube,
two
eBay.
of them. Yeah.
Put that on eBay. So we got our first article here is recapping 2023, the first big story of
2023.
Yeah, it was January 2023.
Oh wow! So right out the gate.
Yeah. So we had Stadia sales into the sunset. Google officially shut down all Stadia services in January 2023. Stadia first launched in November 2019. So we got our first confirmation basically a year ago that this thing was ending, and in the months after that, they finally shut down servers and all support, and You do have, like you mentioned, you have the controller. I think the final like ability to update it is coming up soon. It's like within this month.
What does that even mean? to
That
update
means
the
like you
controller?
have to connect whatever service to give its last update so it's usable on a PC. Otherwise, if not, if you've never like if it's still in the box and you haven't updated it, it won't work. Apparently,
I guess I'll pull it out of the box.
do that.
Directly from our data center.
But yeah, it was a year ago now that we got word that this thing was ending. What are your final thoughts on Stadia?
Onto the phone here on a Pixel 3 XL.
It was too early.
And as such,
Like,
we're also enabling.
I mean, Microsoft can only get away with their version of this because they have another strategy, right? This is just diversifying for them.
True, it's another thing that they can have.
Yeah, no, it was a bad call. It was implemented badly.
I'd like to introduce you to the newest member of the Google hardware family.
They have no first-party stuff. I don't know what they were thinking.
This is
Without
your-
I mean, they got
tried.
first-party. They got Jade Raymond.
It enables
They
you
got
to
this
access
bald
the
guy
full
who I
Stadia
forget what he's
experience.
done.
And if
there
you
are
remember, they
many
poached
advantages
the
to
God of
Stadia
War. One of
controller.
the producers on God of War, I forget her
Is
name.
that it will
She's
connect
really big.
through
Something stud still.
Wi-Fi
She was gonna
directly to the game that
head
is
this
running in the Google
studio
data
for
center.
Google.
The Stadia
And then it just like
controller
was
identifies
canceled.
which screen or device you
I
want
hope
to
I'm
play
not
on
mixing my
and
stuff
links it with
together.
your game
But they
system
were
running
trying
in
to
the
poach
cloud,
different stuff. They're trying to
ensuring the
build
highest
this,
possible
first
performance
party
and the best
aspect to it.
experience for
It just never
players.
happened, and they had
In addition to
this
the
promise
standard
of like
functions
watching
you'd
a
expect to
YouTube
see on a
stream
modern
and then
game
jumping into
controller,
that same
the
game.
That was a
Stadia
great
Really cool
idea.
features
Yeah.
two
They never
very
did it.
important
Absolutely.
new buttons.
So
The
would have been
capture
great.
button is for
Cool if
sharing
true,
and
wasn't
saving
true.
your game
It wasn't true, and
experience
you might be
back
right
out
where it's
to
too early.
YouTube.
YNT says they
gamer
have
can
cheese.
choose
I'm
to
not sure
share
what they
their
mentioned
experiences,
or referring
starting with
to.
a click of
Brandam
this
says,
button,
"Did Gavin
to
have a Men in
themselves,
Black
to
moment?"
their friends, or to the world?
Yes.
They are in control.
Absolutely. My memory is
The
only getting
second
worse
one is
by
the
the second.
Google Assistant button.
Yeah, Stadia was.
Pressing this
You,
button allows
it's a good
players
point,
to
or an interesting point
immediately
rather, where
access
you
the
say they were
controller's
too
built-in
early.
microphone.
Yeah, in
one
10
world,
years,
Help
this will be
from the
great.
assistant for
I wonder
special
if
in-game features
in what world that's true,
integrated
and
with
another
developers.
dimension, Spider-Verse,
Our
they'll
goal
never
with
happen.
Stadia is
I
to
feel
help
like
fuel developer
streaming
creativity
games, there's
at
too much
every
of that
level.
lag, that
And as a
delay. Like
new
I tried,
generation game
I jumped into
Stadia
Xbox's
will, of course,
is it
embrace
xCloud?
full cross-platform
Let's call it
play.
xCloud.
Recently,
And even
because
bring
they had
game
a
saves
they had
and
support for the
progression across as well.
Oculus headset.
When Stadia
Tried it and it had the
launches,
same lag
we
that
will
it's
have
always
increased
had, where it's like
performance
I don't want to
significantly to
play
support
this
resolutions
exclusively.
up to
If I had
4K at
nothing,
60
I
frames
live in a
per
cardboard
second.
box. Still somehow I still have
With
Wi-Fi
HDR
and an
and surround
Oculus.
sound.
Okay, it's a way to play games. But
And
like,
in the
there's
future,
no
we'll be
world
able
where I
to
want to
stream
play that
games
and
in
deal with
up to
the
8K
lag. 'Cause, like you
resolution.
feel it if you're playing any game.
With a
You
new
feel the delay
technology
between the move of
called
the
State
stick
Share,
or any kind of
developers
input,
can let
and
a
it takes too
player
long.
Instantly share.
Yeah. The one that surprised me the
everyone
other day,
from a
I
game.
decided
This could include the world's
Tops,
because
TV,
my girlfriend was trying
tablets,
to. She's
and
like,
phones.
"Oh, this board game has
This
remote
new
play on
generation
Steam,
of
so we
gaming
can play with the
is
friends." I
not
was trying to
a
explain that
box.
remote play doesn't
State-
mean what you think it does. We can't just give everyone 4 screens and they can all see it. It's like, no, everyone's going to see the same thing. So I brought out my Steam Deck, and I was surprised that like the lag from my computer. So I put on Cyberpunk, and it was running fine on my computer, and then projecting to my Steam Deck, and it was still bad. Now I
Oh,
didn't
really?
have my Steam Deck on the 5G Wi-Fi, so that might have fixed it.
And there are docks where you can use Ethernet with the Steam Deck, and then it's like on your at least your home.
and I do have one of those. Not that I've ever used it, which I should, because I have it here. I'm just it's having a hard time connecting to my Xbox One controller, or whatever,
Oh, okay.
Xbox
Yeah.
Series
it's the same
controller.
with one. And
Oh,
the
is it?
new one,
Yeah. So
basically.
I don't know why it's having issues where the light blinks the whole time, and that really annoys me.
Future Corp says a page audio coming through. That might be from the footage that we're watching. I have that audio turned down because it's just the video audio that we're
Oh.
watching.
Okay.
But yeah,
That
and then,
and Santa up here sounds like is running around on the roof.
that's
So
our neighbors. They just it's like they're next door, but it sounds like they're running amongst us. Like we
It
have
is-
a poltergeist.
It is very strange
Yeah.
that sounds like it's in the room.
because there's Rune, and Rune does cause a ruckus.
Yeah.
but it's like not that loud.
No, the call is inside the house.
Yeah.
I don't-
We mentioned your Steam Deck. Let's jump to that. as
Dude,
our
I love
next
my
story.
Steam Deck. Like I thought, and you helped Lily get the idea to buy the Steam Deck or whatever. She asked for your opinion.
I try to get her to buy me one too. It's like,
Yeah,
you know what?
No, I should have done it.
My birthday exists at some point. Get me one.
But like, because I originally told her, because she's got a bad habit. She like this watch. She was like, "Oh, which of these watches would you want if you could get one?" I said I wouldn't, and she bought me anyway. So the Steam
Because you
Deck,
never buy anything or spend any money.
yes. And with the Steam Deck, she's like, "Oh, would you want a Steam Deck?" And I said no. So I feel like part of is in her head when she hears me say no, I wouldn't want it. She's like, "Oh, I wouldn't buy it for myself."
True.
But the Steam Deck, I love.
That's cool.
Especially because I commute. I work remote, or I work in a different city 2 days a week, and I get so much use out of that thing. It's shockingly powerful sometimes, and then shockingly unpowerful other times. So you really get a grip for, like, some games are ridiculously optimized. Like Prey, you can run Prey on like full specs on that thing.
Really?
The fan will be louder than the game.
Right.
That's also a thing to get used to. Like, you're so used to the Switch. The Switch doesn't get that hot. This thing will.
Yeah.
It will cook.
That's always that's been Nintendo's thing, where it's like they sacrifice performance and really just performance for battery life and heat, fan use. And so that's with the Steam Deck, you get to at least control that. Like, that's really cool. That's what always called out to me, is that you have the ability to decide, like, what do I want to use? Can I turn this thing down so I can really focus on no sound whatsoever, no heat, but then your performance goes down, or vice versa. It's really versatile.
Yeah, it's super cool. I highly recommend one now. That
I mentioned the Steam Deck because one of our stories this year was Valve releases last year, 2023. Valve releases Steam Deck OLED. The Steam Deck OLED surprise dropped in November, featuring a better OLED screen, better battery life, Wi-Fi 6, blah, blah, blah. Valve also dropped the price of the original deck. 2023 also saw the handheld gaming PC market heat up as the Asus ROG Ally released, as well as the Lenovo Legion Go. So it was a big time for PC, handheld, peripherals in general, but we got a revision on the Steam Deck.
That's very exciting. And I feel like I heard some YouTubers saying, like, hey, Steam saying it's like the same specs. It's not the same. It's a little better.
It seems like it's a little better. I watched, I think, one Linus Tech Tips, and they went over that. And but you get also the screen, and like OLED is a new thing, and a lot of different peripheral companies are really hesitant to move to that. But it seems like that's what is going to look better, but there's also like performance and stuff. Future Corp says X going to give it to you. You are correct. 2024 is the year of X. I've always been saying that.
Yes, Elon Musk will be very happy about that.
I'll never call Twitter X. Never.
Absolutely.
He can go fuck himself. I love the Cybertruck. That's one of the stories I forgot to include. The Cybertruck actually launched.
I still haven't seen one yet.
In real life, no. I will never.
I feel like Tesla's popped up pretty quick, but Teslas also aren't ugly as sin.
Yeah. And the Cybertrucks they're cool though. They are cool, but they're also super duper ugly. But I think it's because they made 5. Like, I know they have their launch event where they give it to some of the actual pre-orders. I was just reading something this morning that they're running into like serious production issues where they can only make a certain amount per year, and it was way less than they thought. But the end of the article made it more positive, where it's like once they get through those production issues, then they can like streamline it and stuff.
Is the issue that they're shipping them one at a time? Because I remember he said it could be used as a boat, so maybe they're just not all making it to shore. They ship them over from China
on a freight from China. They're just sending them out, drive it.
No, it's fine.
With their 3-hour battery life.
Exactly. You can make it there that quick.
No, it has to do with like the steel. So like the way they have their steel outer body, it's like they have to bend it in a certain way. They need special machines to bend it, because the actual steel is so tough.
Oh.
So stuff like that has just like made the actual production process way longer, way more expensive, and they're trying to streamline it.
Things if they're
I don't know.
Heavy duty steel.
But I was thinking about that when they finally had their launch event, where it's like, if you get hit by one of these things, you're going to disintegrate.
Oh,
like,
sure. Absolutely.
But how do they get, I wonder how it works with vehicles, because there's some kind of governing body that certifies like, okay, this is safe to drive, or this is past whatever, like, but are they only protecting the driver? What about the person you hit? Is it a matter of like, because you could be in a tank.
I don't think there's a lot of protection for the.
It's just a matter of like, are you safe inside the vehicle?
Yeah, but I think some of these ones, like modern crumple zones in a car, that's to protect you as a driver. So that's a perk for you. So if this doesn't have that, that's just, you're not going to have the same safety rating or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a world I don't know about, but I was just reading about that this morning, where it's hard to actually make these things, like harder than they thought. But it's still possible that they're gonna, we'll live in a world where everyone drives a Cybertruck. I don't know why Cybertruck.
Well, that happened with the Tesla too. I remember seeing a thing where like he had to go tell all the people that invested in the first wave, it's like, hey, the price is gonna have to go way up.
Yeah, they did that with the Cybertruck too, where it's like,
did it?
Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
They had the original pre-orders, and then when they did their launch event, it's like, okay, now the price is gonna increase because we actually have to make these things. It's a whole thing. But that launched this year. Since the last time when we initially started the podcast, that was just a fever dream. They had their initial launch event announcement event rather.
It
Where
was just a meme.
it was just a meme where they threw the baseball or whatever at the window. It was
The
supposed to be
cyber
bulletproof.
window. Thank you very
Cyber
much.
window, the digital window. Yeah. So that happened in the time that we've met. That's a real thing. But yeah, Steam Deck OLED exists. It's around. You can buy it. Let's move back up. So we're talking about Stadia. Stadia bites the dust. Now Baldur's Gate 3 swings those big old balders.
When are you gonna pick it up?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
I am as well.
I'm thinking about it. We'll move to.
I think the one thing that scares me, I mean, the thing I like is I can jump back and forth between my computer and that was the guy that showed up in armor to the Game
Oh,
Awards.
you're right.
But the thing that makes, like, I think it's cool that I can jump back and forth between my Steam Deck and my PC. The one thing that sucks is, like, a lot of the people, like journalists I hear talking about it, say the nice thing is they'll, like, stream it and their audience will help them because there's so much D&D stuff that you need to know.
Oh, sure.
If you don't, you're just going to be lost. Like, your spell book or whatever, your thing of skills and spells you can do is huge. And, like, yeah, you could just stick to, I think Damon Hatfield was just like, I'm just going to do my quick wheel and that's all I'm going to do. But, like you can do so much stuff. So I don't know. I might just be over intimidated by all this, but
All the options are how deep it is.
yeah, and it's also a little harder to get to all that stuff when you're on controller. So I imagine going from, like, computer with your mouse and keyboard to Steam Deck, like, that might be a little bit of a rough transition.
Well, this thing, I wonder if that helped with its popularity because when it, I want to say when it left early access and it was on PC, was that like, that was like fall-ish where it was like really starting to, people were talking about it.
Yeah.
But it also launched on PS5. And for some reason they had it on PS5 for 3 months before it hit Xbox. That was one thing at the Game Awards, that guy in the armor that we're looking at right now forgot to announce that it was hitting Xbox that night.
Yeah.
So they had at least 2 months where it was just on PS5. So if you wanted to play it on console, it was there.
Right.
So they had this huge leap because of being on PS5.
Yeah. Well, and that was it sounds like that was mostly Xbox's fault. They originally told them they had to have feature parity with Xbox.
Yeah,
and they
with
said,
Series S.
We're losing money. Let's get it out there.
Right. But like, so a lot of people played it on console, and that still helped the love, the popularity of the game. So it seems like for the most part, people had no problem with that. I do want to try it at one point. But Baldur's Gate 3 had a huge year. I have my little blurb here. Larian Studios' Baldur's Gate 3 took over the second half of 2023 with players across the world rushing to make love to bears in this RPG based in the Dungeons & Dragons universe. BG3 swept this year's Game Awards, winning Player's Choice, Best Performance, and Game of the Year, to name a few. So they really dominated.
I mean,
Zeitgeist.
it is. I feel like the best term I've heard it for is it's a once in a generation game. We can't do this every year, but we can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was, I remember years ago when we first started and we moved into our new place, I had interviewed this gal who was like just covering RPGs.
Oh, okay.
And she was talking about Baldur's Gate 3. This is back when it was early access.
Yeah.
And all this stuff went way over my head. I'm not a like this type RPG fan, but it was cool to talk about this game and just not knowing a lot about it. And then fast forward 2 years later, and it's the biggest game of the year for sure.
Yeah. But wasn't it in early access for like, I feel like
It was a while.
at least 6 years. I feel like it was in early access when I was still in Chicago, but I could be wrong.
It could have been because by the time I talked to that person, it was still in early access. But
Yeah.
that was what, like maybe early 2020, and so it's still 2023 when this game is leaving.
Yeah.
I think it's left early access, right? I
Yeah.
think
It's out. It's out. It's
release?
out.
Okay.
Even though they keep like, it's weird that it's like, yeah, it's out of early access, but also they're still adding like more endings and like a lot more content and fleshing out things that people didn't like. So
Yeah.
like, yes, it's out of, yeah, it's a weird, games are weird now. You can't just have them.
No, they're
But
not, they're
that's
never
okay.
done.
Like, yeah.
If you go to sleep now,
Yeah, that huge year. I do want to play this. I think it's going to be an Elder Scroll situation or an Elden Ring situation where I wait until it's on sale.
Oh, sure.
But
Which might be a while. They have not budged.
no, they have no
whatsoever.
reason, and I understand they have no reason to limit this game.
Well, I like that from the
sale.
perspective of, I know one of the guys at Flame Bear said this. It's a little disrespectful to your hardcore fans for you to like put it on discount almost immediately.
That's true. Although when it was in early access, was it a full retail price?
I legit don't know.
Because I feel like if it's not, and then it goes, because a lot of these
Yeah.
games that did pop out this holiday season, by the time you get to Christmas, New Year's, there will be a sale. Like on PSN, there was a sale on a lot of games that came out this year. So, but I don't know. That's a game where it's like they earn the right to like hold off. Everyone's trying to play it. You can make your money right now.
Yeah.
And I get it.
So
before you turn around.
I am glad to see that at least it was very successful. So they're going to get, it sounds like they got their money back and then some. So they get to keep on being Larian. So
Yeah, that's cool. I think at one point when we were watching the Game Awards, I was like, that was cool for like this smaller studio to put out this game. It's like, oh, they're not a small studio.
Yeah, they have like 300
Huge.
people. So they're not huge, but 300's.
It just shows like how much I didn't, and I wonder if a lot of people feel this way, like they just didn't know about Larian. Like they didn't know
I agree.
I know they made another D&D-esque game, which is how they got Baldur's Gate.
Mhm.
It's Divinity.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I want to say they'd made that,
Which is
still
also
an
supposed to be
RPG.
really good.
Yeah, still really good. And the months after that, I remember them talking about how they've always wanted to do Baldur's Gate or something in D&D universe, and so that was their attempt, at like getting it's a Wizards of the Waverly Coast. That's I'm merging Disney properties with that.
I think so.
It's something of the coast.
Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like really trying to campaign like, hey, we can handle this. Look at Divinity. Let's
Yeah.
tackle this, and they let them do it. So that's really cool. I just for some reason think because they were under the radar in my mind that they were a small studio, but they're not at all. But kudos to them. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and they've been slowly building up. I know I watched a few features on it. It sounds like the really cool thing they've done too is they've done a really good job of just holding on to their talent. So everyone in the studio is just like veterans. They know their shit.
That's cool. Brandam says, did you see the video of the Cybertruck getting stuck in the snow?
I did not.
I did. Yeah, it's
I would think it'd be fine in the snow, but maybe it's that heavy armor it's got.
There's variables where it's like, what kind of tires did they have? Where there's various modes you have on the Cybertruck to.
Wasn't that supposed to be a thing where they had two trucks like towing each other, and like the Cybertruck one because it had all that torque from the electronic tires?
I remember their
electronic-
first announcement thing, and then people were picking that apart where it's like, well, it wasn't apples to apples or whatever. But even in the snow, it's like you have to have traction, you have to have good tires. I don't know the tires that were in that video, but people are also really quick to just shit on the Cybertruck,
Sure,
which I get, but I'm trying to be like just outside looking at and judging what the footage is, and so if it really did suck in the snow, then that's not good. But it can take a bullet, apparently.
Can it?
No.
Oh, okay.
They walk back
say
their
it.
bulletproof advertising stuff.
I know it doesn't have an engine block anymore, so your car could stop a bullet with its engine block, but no, you don't.
If you shoot it directly, but who's gonna shoot? Who's gonna go? I'm gonna shoot you, but I'm gonna shoot through your engine, and hopefully,
I don't know, Hollywood big action movie stars.
Alrighty, Gavin. Move on to our next one here. Longtime Mario voice actor steps down. The voice of Mario, Charles Martinet, stepped down from voicing the character to instead become the official Mario brand ambassador, whatever that means. Charles voiced every iteration of Mario for over 30 years, starting with Mario Teaches Typing in 1994 to Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope in 2022. Kevin Afghani took over as voice of Mario for 2023's Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Have you played Wonder?
I have not.
Okay. I was going to ask what you thought of his... I thought his performance was pretty good. No.
Did you notice, like, hey, doesn't sound like Mario, or Mario sounds, different or something?
He's a little lighter.
Okay. He's a younger dude. I've seen him. He's like he's a voice actor, but it almost seems like a streamer. Like, he just seems like a younger dude.
Yeah, and I think his background, I want to say, is mostly anime. So maybe that's just kind of where that lightness comes from. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be fine. I'm curious what all roles he's gonna do. Like, is he gonna do Luigi? And
Martinet did that, right?
Yeah, and it's weird seeing him like transform into Luigi like on camera. Just instantly turns into this goblin.
Yeah,
with his deeper voice. So that's crazy to see.
It's an end of an era, apparently. Like, although they couldn't use him for the Mario movie, but
yeah, it's gonna be weird now. Like, where we've officially reached that point. Video games, like our NES video games that we grew up with, are now at that point that we're gonna start seeing these people that we grew up with like retiring.
Yeah.
Or you're just gonna be like, you're gonna pull a Kojima and just lean further into madness.
Well, I was thinking the same thing with
so
looks dope. We mentioned Kojima. There's Metal Gear Solid, and is it David Ayer was the original voice of Snake, and then they dropped him for Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
In Metal Gear Solid 5, so it's like that guy wasn't retiring. They just decided, okay, we're gonna switch to this voice actor.
Yeah, that was a weird choice.
But it is it's different from this person like actually being synonymous with this character and retiring. Oh, that was a person who was synonymous with that character, but they decided, we're good. Even though you're not retiring, we're good.
Although now we got what's his name teaming up with Kojima, so that's gonna be some.
Jordan Peele.
Yes,
It's Jordan Peele. I just watched an interview with him and Kona. That's why I remember his name.
Okay,
Too.
I feel dumb, but I always get him and Keegan Michael Key. I'm like,
Yeah, because they're just synonymous with each other. Yeah.
yeah, but that's gonna be some spookiness.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Let's get to that before we jump. There's just other Nintendo stuff, and then I do want to talk about Game Awards because there's more to that. But this year, Nintendo also launched Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in May 2023.
My game of the year.
Yeah, that was the same for me. My game of the year for sure.
That was.
Anything else to write home about Tears of the Kingdom?
Just it was.
Just a solid
I think
game.
it was cool that like for all the stuff that got spoiled, like that I was able to avoid the depths being spoiled. That was super
Yeah, I didn't know that
cool.
either.
Yeah, which is good because I found the Sky Islands kind of boring. Like the first one you're on was the most interesting, and then after that they're kind of just like the same trees, the same blocks, the same stone golem things over and over again.
That's true. They're not as I could see. Yeah, they're not as fleshed out as the depths.
Yeah.
Which I remember my nephew mentioning that they're called the depths, and I was like, I don't think that's right. I think they're just the caves or whatever, the darkness below. Like I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I know there was a name attributed to it, and
Yeah.
then he's like, yeah, okay. And then I looked at one point at my map. It's like, oh, they do call it the depths.
Yeah.
I just thought he was whatever, just calling it whatever he wants to, autism or something.
Oh.
But he's just making a name for whatever thing that doesn't exist. But it did.
Yeah. Well, I think they do a big when you first go down there, like the depths.
I did not see.
When they do
Did not pay attention.
that big trombone note every time, which
Oh,
is so.
I don't know, just knee deep in Cheetos, and when they mentioned
He's saying that because of his hair.
it. Yes. But I love this.
Yeah.
It at first glance, I thought like, okay, we're getting DLC for the last Zelda, but no, it is that, but it's also the best. If this is DLC, it's the best freaking DLC we've ever received for a game.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's its own thing. Has its own mechanics. You have the depths. Like they really flesh this thing out. I would love them to stay in this world with this like art scheme and stuff with the exploration. But now I think because it's pretty much this is done.
Yeah.
Their next iteration of Zelda is going to be something different, and I wonder what that would be. Will they still nail that essence of Zelda? And I just wonder what that would be.
It was interesting though, because a recent interview came out, or I don't know if it was an interview or what it was, but I think it was EGA Anuma was saying because he was confused because people are like, yeah, they really like the open world, but they want more traditional linear dungeons, and I don't get it. This is way better. Why wouldn't they want this? It's like,
I feel like I read the same stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Like, oh, apparently you don't get it.
I wouldn't mind if they followed the Capcom suit where it's like, we're going to reiterate, do stuff new with these newer Zeldas, but we're going to remaster the older Zelda, so you still get those linear Zeldas like Capcom did with Resident Evil, where you have those remasters of linear Resident Evils, but you have the newer stuff too. That's different.
And the rumor is that that's going to be they're going to do a Ocarina of Time remake, which,
man, when they announced that, do you think they wait? It's not one of our stories, but this is the year. Basically, all the media outlets are pointing to. This is the year of the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Do you think they save that for a Switch 2 announcement?
Launch title? Absolutely.
Because we're not going to get a new Zelda anytime soon, for sure.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. I think it'd be perfect. I think it'd be good if they can finally get like. I love Ocarina. I assume you played it when you were a kid? So I love it, but when I play it, I turn into 13-year-old Gavin, that like knows every nook and cranny of this thing, and like I can appreciate it for this old game it is. But like if I were to give it to like another adult today, they'd be like, "Why is all of this crap?" Like,
there's just the quality of life stuff that we are used to now that it doesn't have.
So if they could pull a Resident Evil 4 and add a decent amount, maybe kind of work some of that onboarding a little better.
Right.
Like,
but they're maybe in the toughest position where it's like, you can't change it though. You can't change it, but people want it to be new.
Yeah.
So what do you just up-res it? Like I've seen so many UE5 renditions of what Zelda would look like Ocarina of Time. People do that like fan stuff all the time.
Oh, those.
But
did you see the one with? Do we have that the 3D?
No.
The guy that made it look like it was a Studio Ghibli movie.
No.
Okay, look,
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time, Studio Ghibli. Like this guy made it in Unreal 5. He did all those crazy animation techniques and the cell shading, and like also this footage is like you don't got to watch the whole thing. You can jump around because it's really long. It's 20 minutes long.
Oy.
I think the first 10 is the actual footage, and then it's just him walking around. But like this is his concept in Unreal 5. This is all 3D being rendered to look like a Studio Ghibli movie. And it's absolutely insane.
Whoa.
So
these are assets in the game that we're seeing.
Yeah.
This is how the game
is all well. So it's being rendered because that's you can do Unreal 5 in like render mode. So it's
okay.
So most of this isn't running.
Does this video show
real
the character?
time.
Oh, I think they do. Yeah.
If you go, I want to say about this is him running around. But like seeing how he did everything in the little square thing. And you get to see all these people. It's like I wish he released this because I just want to be in this square. But can you imagine? I think it's too late for them to do something in this style, but this would be.
And Nintendo never does what you want them to do.
They have been though in the last few years. That's why I keep thinking like they know that the world is coming to an end because they keep like, we're just going to put out the best Zelda. We're going to give the people the Pikmin that they wanted. We're going to give everyone all the stuff they wanted because we know the world's coming to an end. So we're just going to give it.
The Metroid Prime, they remastered that on Switch. So
you know what? I just started playing that.
Yeah.
When I got COVID last Tuesday and I was sick in bed and so there was a point where I couldn't sleep anymore. So I'm just like, you know what? I bought this thing. I played it for 30 minutes. Like I should go in. Like IGN gave this a 10. So I should go in and experience it with this 10, which I still kind of disagree with. This is it's a video gamey-ass video game. Like every time you're playing it, it's just like, oh, I'm going to go through this door, use this thing because it's a video game and that's how mechanics work. Everything feels like it was designed by a video game designer.
Yeah, you're playing a video game.
Yeah, but it's still...
But it really makes you feel that as you're playing it.
Yeah, but it's still very, very good, very impressive.
Well, I bring that up because you mentioned... my first thought when you said Nintendo is giving you everything they want, it's like, no, they don't. But you're right. They gave you Metroid Prime Remaster. Yeah.
Hot dropped it, or whatever you call that. Secret drop.
That was like
panty dropped.
Panty drop. Yeah, they panty dropped it.
Panty dropped it.
And then you got oh god, you mentioned the other one that they Pikmin, another Pikmin.
Yeah.
So it's like they are actually going to the well with their properties.
Yeah. So Star Fox is coming out next.
And I guess we did get the Zelda remaster on Switch for Skyward Swords. Was that last year?
Yeah.
Did it? I guess people wanted it. I didn't, but
I bought it because I was playing that in the lead up to Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, sure.
And it is.
They just everyone was blue balls for Zelda, so they're like, okay, drop whatever.
Still Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
It still has a lot of problems.
But they are trying. It's just they always lag behind with like. But if they could meet up with someone at Capcom, and be like, hey, how'd you guys do this? Like, what would you guys
see? That's the thing. The director for Skyward Sword, and then later. Breath of the Wild, and this they poached him from Capcom because he worked on. Remember the old? I think his first Zelda game was it the two games that came out, the Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of whatchamacallit?
Oh, okay, on GBA or DS.
So, yeah, so he made that. I want to say he also made. There was another one made by Capcom for the Game Boy Advance, Minish Cap.
Oh.
So, like, before he got to Nintendo, he'd already made 3 Zelda games. And then, like, I think his studio shut down that Capcom studio. And they're like, all right, well, we'll take you. And then Ianuma's been raising him under his wing. And now he's the director. So they got Capcom.
I didn't know that.
I felt like when I played Skyward Sword for the first time, I'm like, this feels a little Capcom-y. It's got, like... Just because they're willing to do stuff a little bit weird and like their movement feels a bit different, their animation, it kind of has that Capcom feel to it. So,
okay, well, that's awesome. I mean, if they can keep going in that direction, we'll see. But we got that final Zelda this year, and whatever that universe that era is called, it is finally
And you
done.
said it was your game of the year, so
yeah, that was
Alan Wake didn't. Alan Wake
was great, but for sure I played way more Zelda. Loved Zelda way more than I did Alan Wake. But speaking of Nintendo, as we end off for 2023, Nintendo at the movies.
Yeah.
Super Mario Bros. Movie finally released in spring 2023, and it made $1.36 billion worldwide. Nintendo also announced in November that they are pursuing a live-action Legend of Zelda film, as we're talking about Zelda. So
I should say this footage that we were looking at just a second ago, that came out at the exact like same time as they announced the live action.
nice.
And a lot of people are like, no, give us this.
Do that.
Yeah.
Talk to Studio Ghibli.
I feel like what's his name over at Ghibli would be right on board.
Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name, and I know he was
Miyazaki. It's the
Miyazaki?
same as Dark Souls.
Is it?
Last name.
I'm like,
Well,
where do
last
these
name
people-
anyway. I don't know his first name.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna just trust your judgment on
I
this.
think one of them is called Hideo Miyazaki. Couldn't tell you which one.
Okay, one of them. But yeah, we got the newer Zelda, the final one. They're making a live action Zelda at one point. They're working on it, but they announced that in 2023. Also, what happened in 2023? This year, Nintendo worked on sunsetting support for two major pieces of hardware in its history:
Oh yeah.
the 3DS and Wii U. In March 2023, the 3DS and Wii U eShops closed down, and all remaining online services for this hardware will come to an end in spring 2024.
I was thinking about that because I was like, it'd be kind of nice to have a 3DS. I've been picking up a new 3DS
Yeah,
because I like my 3DS. I was playing that the other day, playing some Majora's Mask, and but it'd be nice to have the new 3DS. It's a little beefier. It's got the thumbstick, so you can do some stuff with the thumbstick.
Are you talking about like the 2DS where it's like hard set, or there was
No,
another
the new
revision?
3DS, which was like a little more powerful. It had a second thumbstick.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it could actually, I believe it could compensate a little bit for when you tilted it to the side a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So you weren't constantly having to keep your eye in the exact sweet spot. But like if you go on eBay, they're like very expensive.
I'm sure.
So, and
I'm sure.
now the 3DS eShop is shut down. So
Right. So your SOL, unless you find these cartridges or whatever,
or piracy.
yeah.
But
Which reminds me of, as you talk about Tears of the Kingdom, it released on PC through pirates. Like, was it 2 weeks before the game came out? It was like
I think it
fully
was.
blown?
Yeah, I had a buddy who the night it released, he had
like, I'm
it.
playing
He
it.
was already playing. He sent me a screenshot. I'm like, spoilers. It's like, dude, I connected a stick to a stick. I don't think this constitutes as spoilers. I'm like, fine.
Yeah.
So when he accidentally looked up, he was playing the Super Mario 3D or RPG remake, and he accidentally found he was looking up how to do something and found a spoiler. I'm like, this is revenge for Stick.
Yeah. When you did the Zelda thing that we know you could do in the Zelda.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're shutting down 3DS and Wii U this year. No mention of Wii. Is that safe to assume that's still going, or has that already been sunsetted?
I assume it's down.
Okay. But just it seems weird for the news article, which I guess I should have done more research, but 3DS and Wii U. But what about Wii? But Wii also sold dramatically more for sure than the Wii U. So
Yeah.
maybe they're still keeping that going. But
Yeah, it has to be dead. There's no way. I wouldn't want to support that thing.
we started off talking about Nintendo at the movies. Speaking of movies, we had a lot of live action adaptations for video games.
We did, and
So-
some good ones.
Yep, in 2023, we had The Last of Us on HBO, we had Twisted Metal on Peacock, and Five Nights at Freddy's released in theaters.
I heard Five Nights at Freddy's was real bad.
I thought it was, but I also watched, Megan was watching it because it was like you could stream it at that point, and I watched the last quarter and had no idea what was going on. But I don't think I'd have any idea if I'd started from the beginning. But the only saving grace for her, was the fact that PETA was in it from Hunger Games. He's the main kid guy.
Oh, Peter is the guy.
Yeah, he's
Oh.
from the Hunger Games movie. He's the main dude who's like sneaking around Freddy or whatever. I've never fucking seen the movie,
Okay.
apparently. But they also have the dude from Scream, and I forget his name.
Oh,
But he's the guy who's like the main antagonist sort of in that movie. But he's from the original Scream movie. He's an awesome dude. He's from SLC Punk as well. Can't remember his name.
oh, Lillard.
Matthew Lillard.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's him. Yeah,
my
he's
favorite, my future husband.
yeah, he's in it. So it's like that's cool, but it's just
Yeah.
that whole game. I know it's huge. It never called out to me,
Yeah.
but
The lore is neat. Like I'd find
Sure.
fun watching like Markiplier give a lore dump or trying to figure out the lore as he's playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But also we basically got it because didn't what's his name make a version of Five Nights at Freddy's that was unofficial basically?
yeah, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that one was decent.
Mm-hmm. People
So,
liked it.
Yeah, The Last of Us. Did that win any awards? If not, it should
Now,
have.
for the Game Awards, it did win Best
Yes.
Adaptation, but
Oh.
we've yet to see the Oscars for last year.
Okay,
I
those
think that's
haven't.
coming up. No, I don't think it's happened yet.
Okay.
So and they've been nominated for a bunch of those awards, so I'm sure
Yeah.
they're going to sweep it. Or Twisted Metal comes out of nowhere and takes all their awards away from them.
It's not gonna win it. You should watch it, man. It's so like I remember like I was listening to a podcast and they had one of the actors on there, and it was one of the guys that just hangs out with Sweet Tooth.
Is
And
it
he
Anthony
was-
Mackie? He's the main dude. He's Captain America now.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's a guy who plays like a lot of bit roles. It's funny, like now that I know, like I saw him on the podcast, I'll see him in just random crap.
Yeah.
But he was just like, I really want people to watch it because it's fun, but also it's got good action. Like there's not really anything like it, and that's true. Like there's not really anything like this level of levity, and decent action. And everyone's really great. It's got what's her name that plays Rosa, in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, really? Because they have the other guy who's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
What's his name?
He's
Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, is that his name? He always
Yeah.
has the beard.
Yes.
Crazy fro. Yeah.
Yes, he was also in it for not nearly long enough. He's in like one episode, and he needs to be in more. But they tee it off really good for next season, so I'm very glad. Also, his car, this orange car, is very much. They do a really good job of making the car itself a character.
Okay.
And so that's. Yeah, and those two have a great dynamic. They're basically together for the whole show.
I like Rosa. She's basically her same character from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
No.
Okay.
No, very different.
Just looking at her expressions, it looks like the same.
Yeah, no, she's much. I shouldn't say
Angrier?
much more three-dimensional. Oh yeah, there's that guy who was also in SLC Punk, the cop guy.
Oh yeah.
He's a great villain. Sweet Tooth.
And Will Arnett voices Sweet Tooth.
Yes, and it's less cringy. That's the guy that I saw that was on the podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just really fun. I really recommend it if you're just looking for something lighthearted. So if you do watch House of Usher, which I had to take a fucking break after I watched that, and just like I can't go to bed after all this murder. I need to watch something lighthearted. So this would be a good chill afterward. So it's fun. But yeah, the fact that it's directed by the person that did Deadpool is not a surprise to anyone.
It makes sense.
when
That's
you're
probably the
watching it.
right kind of mind to tackle because it is so crazy, the actual games but if the action is strong, because I feel like that's going to be the big point of that, these racing scenes, these action scenes,
Yeah.
because it's Twisted Metal.
And they don't sleep on the car combat. I was worried.
Okay.
It's a little more towards the tail end, but yeah, they don't sleep on the car combat, so that's good.
Gotcha. Well, we got some great movie and TV show adaptations of video games. That really was it for 2023 as far as the live action stuff. Let's move to the next one here. Kind of a bummer. Gavin, this is your world here, but it's Unity price change backlash. I took this blurb from GameRant.com because they have the details here. In September, the popular game engine Unity announced a pricing policy change that would change charge developers per certain installs under certain factors. It was met with immediate backlash, which was worsened by confusing messages about the changes, how these installs would be tracked, and much more. This led to many developers saying they would no longer use Unity, as well as a handful of protests. Before implementing the changes, Unity backpedaled on the new policy. Not long thereafter, Unity
They didn't
CEO
backpedal all the way though.
I see, gotcha. So right around there, Unity CEO John Riccitiello stepped down from his role at the company. How did you feel about all this stuff? Because it was big in the news with Unity just like burning their bridges with devs.
Yeah, I mean, I was like I'm not sure I can call myself a developer anymore, but I was with every developer that everyone had the same opinion. This is bullshit. Like way to just like burn all your bridges, like any faith or trust people had in you. Just absolutely furious. Just what horseshit. I think it was. I'm trying to remember which dev it was. I want to say it was the guys that made like Slay the Spire. That's just like, you guys fucked up when we're gonna say something because we don't say anything about anything. So you either backpedal right now or we're changing engine. So they just released very recently a fun game in Godot, which is the engine a lot of people are jumping ship to.
Okay.
Because it's open source. And there's getting a lot of new features. People donated a lot of money to help further development of it. So it's kind of a nice engine to go to if you're from Unity. It's not as full-fledged as Unity, but it'll get there.
Are there, for
especially
people
with
that were
everyone's
jumping
support.
ship from Unity, is there an easy like transition to another game engine? Or like, is it the actual translation of stuff transfer over? Or is it like they have to redo everything the ground up?
Yes and no, right? Like there are certain skills that you have, like using a room editor is going to be. It's like if you were going to go from Photoshop, which I assume that's your tool of choice, right? If Photoshop said tomorrow, oh, it's $1,000 a year,
which it basically is. They just portion it out well,
Yeah.
but I know what you're saying.
sure. You're like, well, fuck that. I'm going to GIMP. Like, you could make it work eventually. It's just going to take a little getting used to certain things.
I see.
This is a little bit more different than that, just because like Unity, I know from the engine I was trying to learn to that one, like a lot of weird stuff. Or going from Unity to Unreal would be hard. But it's one of the easier. Yeah. So it's like learning a different language. If you already,
Sure.
yeah, is probably the best way of putting it. So it's doable, but it is hard. And like the people at several studios have said, like you put so much effort into learning this tool and just have all that time lit on fire. Or you think
Right.
of how many professors and universities are teaching this tool. And now they're like, well, I just wasted a bunch of your money because
Yeah.
now they're less likely to. Devolver Digital straight up said, we are less likely to pick you up to publish your game if you're using Unity.
Wow.
Because
That also
now-
means that their whatever financial situation they have, whatever agreement, it also affects them too.
Yeah.
Picking up your game and then trying to publish it, whatever amount of money they're getting back.
Yeah, this burned everyone. So yeah,
It was huge. And then to see the CEO step down, it's a big deal.
yeah,
So that was a good feel good one for the year.
yeah. But I should say, Game Maker, to anyone interested in making 2D games in response to Unity, was like, hey, some people are making some shitty moves on engines, so our engine's just now free for life.
Damn.
So with the exception of if you want to publish on any consoles, that does have a fee. They're going to leave that around, which is fair.
Yeah, it makes sense where I like the idea of like keeping it free for anyone to play around with and to start learning it, to get good at it. And then if you want to if you have a good enough idea to then go and bring it to
Yeah.
the marketplace.
Exactly.
Okay, there's some, transactions happening.
Yeah.
Now, Gavin, we're hot off the heels on the Game Awards. So Game Awards 2023 made no one happy.
Yeah.
The Game Awards is
Fair to say.
yeah.
Or in the words of you guys can't see the Twisted Metal guy still on screen, but shut up.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie. He's
Shut up.
a good 15 minutes on there, but that's one of the
Jesus Christ.
it's part of the criticism. So the Game Awards is no stranger from negative press and seems to always make some aspect of the gaming world roll their eyes each year.
Yeah.
But this year saw the most overall negative impressions with not only hipster gamers, but media outlets and even game developers. The bigger focus on commercials and celebrities this year, mixed with rushing winners off stage after 30 seconds, while letting Kojima bro out on stage for 10 minutes, made the internet very unhappy. This was a overall. Brune is right now trying to break through the door as we're talking.
Do we let him in? I don't know.
No, he's all right. But this was a whole dynamic
Yeah.
angle online that I didn't realize until after we watched it. Or I guess I didn't have such a negative view. I did share the same, like, Kojima's been talking a while, but apparently no one liked the Game Awards this year.
I also didn't feel it at the time, but afterwards when I heard I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, why are we rushing these people when like it's supposed to be the Game Awards, but it's not really the Game Awards.
No, and that's kind of like Keighley has a reckoning now where it's like he has to figure out what is it going forward. They're going to celebrate 10 years next year.
Yeah.
What is this Game Awards now? He has run it every year, seemingly listening to criticism, adjusting.
Yeah.
But I feel like just from someone, out of left field, like thinking he's in a hard place where it's like you have to pay for it. So you have these commercials, you have these celebrities, whatever come up, so you get more eyes on the show. But you still have to represent gamers and developers.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a hard balance. And I felt like he's sort of done that. He's always letting someone down. And it's like, maybe that's always
Sure.
how it's going to be.
Absolutely. But I think he's done a better job in the past of, calling stuff out when there's some injustice in Hollywood. And this year, this was the year to do it.
And none of that was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
it was...
it's tough because those are the same people you got to keep happy if you want them to keep showing up,
right.
keep giving you trailers. But,
Right. Because let's see, not last year, but the year before, when we're still doing the pod, he made it a big deal to start the show talking about, because there was the big Activision Xbox acquisition, or Xbox acquiring Activision, and in that news was Bobby Kotick and all the different issues that Activision had,
Right.
where there was like different scandals and stuff happening, and he made it a point to start the show saying how they don't, he doesn't tolerate any kind of like weird behavior in the industry.
Oh, sure.
It was a whole, I'm paraphrasing it for sure, up the ass. But he started the show talking about that. Then you have this year where it's like there's been unprecedented layoffs
Yeah.
and not a word. So I think people had issues with that too.
Yeah.
But then you have Gonzo, doing a solo for whatever 30 minutes, and Kojima on stage talking about nothing. But at least
Absolutely
he had
nothing.
Jordan Peele in there, which is cool. But it's like they had nothing to show.
Although, did you see? So something I didn't realize is so he came out through that door.
Yeah.
So that's what was in the reflection in people's eyes in the like CG trailer for them was
The same
like,
door?
Yeah, it was the same door.
Oh.
So there's something. It's
There's
a
always layers
game.
to whatever he shows.
It's a game about doors. It has doors confirmed.
Now, PT had doors.
PT had I mean, it only had like 2, but you were going through,
You're going
them
through
like
that door a lot.
nobody's business.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what that game ends up being. But I understand overall the criticisms with the Game Awards. I don't know what they do because they're just in a hard place where it's like they have to sell it. They have to have commercials to pay for the whole thing. They have to get eyes on the whole thing. It's tough. But maybe you don't rush off the Larian Studios after they won their Game of the Year and they're talking about the various people that died in their dev. Making the game, and then they're getting like, okay, 10 seconds is over. Like they have the
it was
wrap
so
up
short
symbol.
before it started playing them.
And then last year, you had is it Christopher Judge, who's the God of War voice actor?
Oh yeah.
He started off the show. I remember you were like running late. You got
I missed it entirely.
You missed it, but he spent a good 10 minutes just going and going like. And I remember while we're watching, it's like there's no wrap it up music, whatever. So then this is the year where they start that, but then they're like too aggressive with it. So I don't know.
Or what's his name from Crime Boss, Rocky Shetty.
It's basically
I didn't do that on purpose. But just showing up like drunk on stage, like
who? Chuck Norris? Who was in that? Because they had a bunch of people.
well, he was in the no, it was like one of the guys from like Dog Day Afternoon and like a lot of those like what's his name movies, Tarantino movies.
Okay.
So I feel like he's played some gangsters and stuff in that. And
Gotcha.
I mean, maybe he wasn't drunk, but he sure seemed
Gotta be a little drunk for the Game Awards.
drunk.
But so
they
we
had
had
to
that.
collect that paycheck.
But overall, it was fine. No juggernaut announcements and stuff like that. But yeah, so the next year,
I
Jeff
mean,
Keighley
with
has
the
to figure it out.
exception of, and I think it's neat. I wouldn't say juggernaut, but it's pretty neat. Hello Games announcing their
next game.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
hey, we're scaling it back.
We're scaling back to a
it's-
fully realized Earth size
Yeah.
game.
Which we still don't know what he means by procedurally generated Earth. Like, is everyone's Earth going to be procedurally generated, but you get one
But it's multiplayer, so you can jump in on the same Earth.
multiplayer? So, what is this?
Yeah, there was plenty of memes or like stuff they were responding to as well, where they were like, "Don't promise too much," and then Jeff Keighley's like, or not Jeff Keighley, the main dev, I forget his name,
Sean Michael Murray?
Yeah. Sean something Murray. But he's like tweeting the like, sweating, laughing emoji like this. So they were they understand that they're promising a lot.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah. But I just like that but they're still trying to be ambitious. Like that's what got them to the dance in the first place. So I'm excited to see what they do.
I think that probably like in my head, I'm just like, don't do another big one. But I think in the head, it's been how many years since I came? It's been a while. So it's been like 5 years of, 6 or 7 years of lessons learned.
It could be at least 6 or
So-
7. Yeah. And they've been putting out content like every year since it dropped. So
Yeah.
they've
It's
definitely
like every 4 months or 3 months or
it's
something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Gavin, we'll move on. Let's talk about Xbox this year. Arcane Studios Austin released Redfall in May to overwhelmingly negative reviews. I played this for like 30 minutes when it first launched.
I think I played it for 6 hours.
For 6 hours, okay.
I wanted to give it a shake because I love that studio.
Yeah.
Prey is one of my favorite games of all time, and they made Prey. And it sounds like the developers that worked on Prey are not at that studio anymore.
It's a bummer because this one was hyped up. It's a, first party Xbox game. It's from Arcane. So it's like, it's got a hit and it didn't. It had a lot of issues. I know they've gone back, maybe in the last month, there's a big update where they improved the FPS.
I have heard rumors it's quite a bit better now.
Yeah, I saw some.
Would you be willing to jump back in? We could try.
I'll do it. Yeah, I saw some media outlets cover. It's like it does run a bit better. It seems like the world's still kind of empty. Is one of the big criticisms.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that they keep supporting it. I just don't know if that's going to happen or they just move to the next thing. Yeah, it's tough. But that was a big bummer.
Oh, I should also say, according to Steam, my most played game of Steam was Prey Mooncrash. I finally did that Groundhog's Day
The game from like 7 years
DLC
ago, 8
for it.
years
Yeah,
ago.
but it's like you got to keep going through and you're trying to perfect the loop because you
Yeah.
have five people you got to get through consecutively, and if one takes an escape pod or an escape route, the other ones can't take it. So
Oh.
you have to find the perfect route to get them all through.
Oh.
God, it's good.
Do you still have the foam gun? That's all I remember about
You
that
can.
game. And then the squids.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all I remember.
It's it was so good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Need more time loop games. Not enough.
Well, there's the last one from Arcane. Deathloop.
It was okay.
That launched
I wanted
last year
so
too.
bad to love it. Just it was okay.
Yeah. So we got what else? Bethesda Softworks finally released their space RPG Starfield in September,
Which you liked.
which I liked. And I would say I liked. I couldn't say more than that. I wish there was more to. I don't know. You can't say there's not more to do because there is a lot to do. But it's
Yeah.
just like it became kind of the same thing, and it didn't grab onto me like something like a Skyrim or Fallout. But the bones are there. It's like there's a lot they could do with it, and it
Yeah.
seems like they're going to keep supporting it with DLC and stuff in the future. It's just kind of a little bit of a letdown where it's like I would have kept playing it, but just felt like I did everything.
Actually started playing Outer Worlds again.
Oh,
To try and I was just like, what? How would that compare to this? And
Yeah.
boy, it's like it's so much different when the characters are really well written and they interact with people around them. But you're on the same planet long enough to interact with all of them and deal with those cross sections. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I wish
imagine
it had
that's
more of that. Just leave me on a planet for a bit.
right. Yeah, they didn't need 1,000 planets. They could have done
No,
a solar system. Like honestly, like scale it way back.
that
and
would have been
make-
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just make me feel like I'm exploring stuff like you do in Skyrim, where it's like you're trucking along, you see something, you go over there because you can actually walk over there,
Yeah.
and then there's this crazy interaction with NPCs. You see another thing. It's like I like that sense of exploration, which you
Yeah.
can do in space, but it's just way harder. And then they drew their scale like way too far out, I thought.
yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. Skyrim, it came out, man. It was cool.
It technically came
It
out.
technically came out. We also got for Xbox first party, I'm just finishing up the list. We got series reboot Forza Motorsport released in October from Turn 10 Studios.
There we go.
I don't care about the Motorsport series. I do like me some Horizon.
Very pretty though.
Yes. So now continuing on with Microsoft. Microsoft finally completed its acquisition of Activision Blizzard King in October.
Right.
So this is something
Or at
that's-
least got the red tape. They still haven't fully acquired them yet.
From
right?
what I understand, it's basically done.
Okay.
But that's what I've read so far. To the point where Xbox had to decide if like stuff like Call of Duty is going to be on Game Pass, and they said no,
Right.
it's going to be next year,
Right.
which now we're in that year. But this is something that's officially started right before we ended the pod. So it's been a good year and a half of legal battles with FTC and various, regulatory bodies to get it finalized and
Yeah.
finally is there. Originally announced in January 2022, the $68.7 billion acquisition faced almost 2 years of legal battles with regulators to become finalized.
At all, it feels like it's been longer.
Yeah. So part of that, this is recent, but Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard, announced his retirement on December 29, 2023. So that just happened. I know he's staying on to yeah, and nobody liked him. It was a whole shit show. He's staying on to, I think, just like within a month to help whatever transition, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But he's basically out and retiring. So, yeah.
Yeah.
In the midst of the FTC battle, Microsoft lawyers accidentally uploaded unredacted, sensitive Xbox documents.
I don't know how you do this.
They were shared publicly. These documents included future hardware plans like the 2024 Project Brooklyn, an all-digital Xbox Series X with upgraded features but similar performance. So I have the image here. I'm trying to...
Now, when you think Project Brooklyn, do you just think of high school or slightly after college when you were working with a girl named Brooklyn who drove everyone nuts?
I have known a Brooklyn in my life, and she did suck. So yes, that's accurate. I'm trying to look up the leaked document. Here we go. But basically what we got is an image early on of what their hardware might look like.
It's the Alexa.
Yeah, it's this
Taller than I would have.
from
Yeah, it's bigger.
gamesindustry.biz here. We have this image. It's a round Xbox Series X. Has Wi-Fi 6, other hardware upgrades, but not performance-wise. It seems like in the leak, they made it, I wouldn't say they made it clear, but there wasn't anything to give us the idea that like this is going to be some kind of bump up or like
I doubt
refresh.
It, yeah.
It's just features that are enhanced for this same generation.
But no disk drive.
No, yeah, that's true. So this is all digital. And then you have the Xbox Series S. It's still all digital. So it seems like, is this them going forward
Yeah.
all digital? Or they keep the Xbox Series X in the loop still. So you can buy that one with a disk drive. Or you can go that same performance with no disk drive.
It is weird, though, that now you don't have the option to set it outside compared to the other two.
To sit it outside?
Set it on its side, sorry.
Oh, I'm sure it'll come with some kind of like little holder thing. Or just let this thing roll around your freaking entertainment center. Who cares? It's plugged in. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't.
I don't know how many people have like much vertical room in there.
No,
Like
no.
your PS5, I believe
It
is
has
sitting
to be
outside.
laying down. So that's the thing. It's like it has to ship with some kind of, or make some kind of thing out of tinfoil or something to hold it up.
Yeah.
But if you're spending $500, presumably, it's got to come with something.
Quick pause. Did that PS5 Slim or whatever ever come out?
That did. That's one of the stories of PlayStation.
Okay.
So the PS5 Slim did come out.
People are very unhappy with the setup of it.
Yeah, I would say mixed. If I would kind of take the temperature on how people felt online, it's slightly smaller. You know, but it's a PS5, same stuff. But yeah, this is not something Xbox officially announced. It's just leaked part of that FTC drama legal battle. So it's a lot of future stuff that they weren't ready to show.
Yeah.
But presumably it's all what's coming down the pipeline. It's just a matter of like
And
when and what and how.
We got the emails that what's his name, still wants to buy Nintendo.
That was I didn't include that exact thing, but yes, they talked about how they at one point were considering buying a lot of stuff, Nintendo. But is it also? It's like would these companies let them be bought? Like would they agree
Nintendo?
with it?
I mean, they're a Japanese company. They would let another Japanese company buy them. They would never let Microsoft. Buy them.
So that's where it's like, is that a news story that that Xbox wanted to buy? You know, everybody, Apple. It's like, cool. I'm sure they wanted to, but would it actually happen? No.
Well, and there are a lot of like projects that we think got canceled or maybe weren't very far along, like Project This, or people are trying to figure stuff out. They were trying to figure out what the code name for Redfall was, because I think at the time they were still buying Bethesda. So the emails were quite old.
Gotcha. That's a thing, and even Phil Spencer had tweeted right after this stuff release, whereas like there's information that has changed as part of this stuff that you're seeing. He's not confirming anything or denying. He's just saying like this stuff is in flux, so we're ready to show it when we're ready to show it. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. That stuff could happen. It could change. One of the things that leaked potentially was Bethesda's roadmap was also leaked in the Xbox documents, mentioning a sequel to Ghostwire Tokyo, Dishonored 3, and remasters of Fallout 3 and Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Yeah. Which would be awesome, but who knows if we'll actually see that.
Man, a good-looking Fallout 3, that would be...
Oh, sign me up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have the Fallout 3 TV show that's coming up, but yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. It cannot come out. Give me that Walter Goggins in my life.
Yeah, he looks really cool.
Yeah.
Right, again, we got Insomniac Games. Speaking of leaks, in December, ransomware group Resida announced they had acquired 1.76 terabytes worth of internal data on Insomniac Games Studios, including unreleased game footage, software plans, and personal employee info. After Insomniac didn't pay the requested $2 million ransom, Resada released the files onto the internet. Personal employee info like passports, HR reports were released along with early gameplay footage and builds of their upcoming game Wolverine. The software roadmap for the studio's next 12 years was also released. All this becoming maybe the worst ransomware hack / leak in gaming history.
Yeah.
That was big. It was unfortunate.
Yeah. That super sucks.
And it's mixed where it's like, it wasn't just game stuff leaked, which is also, it sucks for people working on it, but it was like their personal, like their address, like information, like just stuff where it's like, that shouldn't be tied to it. But these ransomware groups have there's no, honor. There's nothing like that where it's like, it's just whoever is the highest bidder will release it, and it sucks.
Yeah. They don't care who they hurt. So
no. And I wonder if we'll realize in the future after this, of course, it's like, hopefully the personal information can get fixed or change whatever, what have you with the employees working there. But if you're talking about the content side of like the game stuff that's been leaked, if that can eventually maybe not even hurt Insomniac, because it's like, we'll show you when we show it.
Right.
And it seems like online, people are still very excited to see what they show. So it's almost like it only just hyped up what they're eventually going to show.
Yeah.
And if that stuff ends up being true, it's a bummer that stuff has been released without them being the ones showing it off. But it seems like people are like all on board with potentially what they're working on.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, but the whole thing absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
But it's maybe the biggest one that we've seen in a long time. Because before that, Xbox had the crown with their FTC drama, with their console ideas leaking for the next couple of years. But then Insomniac says, "Hold my beer, hold my hard drive," and then it exists.
Oh, my hard drive. Where'd you go with my hard drive?
Yeah. Insomniac also released Spider-Man 2 in October.
I hear it was great. So did you complete it?
Loved it. Yeah. It is getting a little samey. I don't even know if if I fully commit to that perspective, but it's like, it feels like, okay, Spider-Man's kind of like, I'm feeling it. It's the same kind of iteration every year. Now this one had a lot of like improvements to movement. You're just blasting through the world with your like jet suit and just flying around basically. It's awesome, but it still feels like I need a change. And so I'm hoping Wolverine, their next project, does something like that.
Now,
too.
hear me out. Did you turn off the swing assist?
I think I kept it on.
Okay.
Baby
Because
mode. I can't handle
that
elderly.
that might give you the change you want.
I don't know. I like feeling like I'm nailing it every time, like Spider-Man would.
Yeah.
So.
The one thing I heard a lot of journalists saying about it is like, it feels like you're at the end and all of a sudden there's half a game left. Did you kind of feel that way as you were progressing?
At the end and half a game left with like just the stuff to do.
Yeah, it felt like the story was coming to a conclusion. They're like, oops, gotcha. There's still like half a game left.
I don't know. I think it depends on how you mix. Like, are you tackling the side stuff along with the story? And I kind of mixed them together where it felt like a decent amount of time.
Sure.
I just didn't have that feeling.
Right.
But there are some surprises that are really dope in that game too. I will tell you what, if you're a Spider-Man fan. Now, Gavin, we're talking about PlayStation. 2023 bought a ton of new hardware from PlayStation. The PSVR 2 launched in February for $550.
Which you have like 5, right?
No, I've yet to jump on any PSVR iteration, and I don't think I ever will. But it's cool. I'm glad it exists. I'm hoping that they need their like real big hitter PSVR games.
They do, which they had, I feel like, the first time they launched PSVR.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff, and they have Horizon Call of the Wild was like an exclusive, PlayStation title there in VR. I was assuming that when they're coming out of the gate with PSVR 2, you get Half-Life Alyx as a way to bring, because that's, to me, in my mind, that's like the best VR game to play if you're looking for some kind of actual game. Like it's got a single player campaign. That's what you bring, but maybe Valve wasn't into it, blah, blah, blah. But in my mind, like that's what they should have done. They haven't yet. So that launched this year, or in February, rather, 2023. So pretty recently. So they still have some time to figure out what their lineup will be. The PlayStation Portal launched in November for $200. That's a online, just streaming handheld, just streams to your PS5, local internet. You can do through mobile, but you're just playing games off your own PS5. Kind of a cool idea. It doesn't really
Pretty
call
cool.
to me.
Yeah. I mean, $200 is a lot.
It is a lot. If I could also stream my PC games, that'd be dope. But it's just
maybe one day. That doesn't seem too far-fetched.
No, but PlayStation also is gonna PlayStation, and they like to keep their little ecosystem closed.
They do.
So we also got, as you mentioned earlier, an updated PS5 Sort of Slim, launched in November. It had a detachable disk drive sold separately, so $450 for the digital without a disk drive, $500 for the PS5 Slim with a disk drive. So they're now driveless. That's making leaving, which is a unique idea because now they don't have two different SKUs, two different models. Right. They make one, and then there's just a detachable hard drive that they sell as well. Right. They also raised the price, so $450 for the digital is more than the $400 digital that I paid for it when it launched.
And isn't it like if you buy the drive separately, it's then more expensive?
It's like $80.
Yeah. And then if you want to lay it on side, you have to buy a second stand,
which is $30.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It's great times right now for
making choices.
Now, Gavin, a big bummer for me this year was The Last of Us Online canceled by Naughty Dog. The news came via blog post the developer's website in December. This is paraphrasing from their site. There's no easy way to say this. We've made the incredible difficult decision to stop development on that game. In ramping up full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we'd have to put all our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come, severely impacting development on future single-player games. So we had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio, or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage.
I mean, this just tells me that this was not Last of Us 1 multiplayer, just with better graphics. Clearly,
Yeah.
maybe there was some sort of open world where you can run around with people. Like, the fact that they're saying they'd had to dedicate their whole team to it, this must have been way, way bigger. And I don't know if that comes from when Bungie came in and said, hey, like, you got to turn it into a live service because that's how you make money. Now, all the live service money is drying up unless you're Fortnite or Roblox.
Even for Destiny too, they're in some hot water with
Yeah.
they laid off people.
Yeah.
There isn't that same turnout
Right
for
after
the
they
DLC.
did the expansion.
Yeah, and then they postponed the next one, I know, for sure, after that. So, and it's a whole lot of stuff. And you mentioned, because it's not official, but the scuttlebutt from media outlets is that the devs from Destiny, Bungie,
Right.
were brought in because they were required by PlayStation, were brought in to assess what they had, and they either said a yes or a no or whatever, or told them to tweak it.
Yeah.
That's the idea that because I want to say 2 months ago, the news was that it was still not official, that the project was put on hold,
Right.
and not yet dead, because of that involvement with Bungie. And then we get word that it's dead. And now the whole thing is weird, where it's like, it's not just that they've decided that they don't have the resources or they would change as a studio, but it's also, why wouldn't they know that they're going to have to support a live service game if they're making a live service game?
So that part would have had to have come later, for sure. But I could see maybe, I mean, that happens where you're making a game and things are a little bigger than they thought, but this is way bigger. Like,
Is that like because what does a producer do? They're kind of keeping the budget intact, keeping the features, what their goal is intact. What is that? Did they have a producer going like, here's what we're trying to do? Oh, guys, this might get too big. Like, is anybody along the ride?
No, that's 100%. They'd be in those meetings with those designers. Designers say, hey, we want to add this, and this feature. And they say, well, all right, let me crunch the numbers, see if we can do that. The answer is no. So,
But was anybody doing that? Is my question. For them to go, oh shit, we can't keep making this.
I think with some of these studios, they are in these weird, especially when because they are owned by Sony, right?
Yeah.
So there are these situations where sometimes these studios are willing to get a little more money. Like you saw, like Microsoft lets their studios get away with a lot. They made Obsidian made Pentiment, a game that 20 people are going to play and really like, but I'm sure that costs at least $1 million to make.
True, but less than like the scope of something like this. But yeah, it seems like you're willing to give them a leash for something that is small enough. But this is like a big daddy game.
Yeah.
It just, that part, I don't necessarily believe, where it's like something else feels like it's going on for them to just realize as they're getting close to reveal it. Because they did say originally 2024 they're going to start showing off the game. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah, but I mean, also sometimes as you're getting into it, you learn. Like Hello Games learned, oh, we need a way bigger team. Or you look at like what the guys over at Sea of Thieves at Ray are like, oh, we need to double our team, but we didn't have the money, so now we have the money. I don't know.
Could you not have release the game and then have another team come in and work on like updating content? So like the core of the game is there, but adding new skins of like, if it's like a live service stuff, new maps, like could they handle that aspect? And
yeah, potentially, but that costs money.
True, but also they're in the hole for however millions of dollars this thing already costs, right? So that's one aspect of it. It's like they're willing to just eat it.
Yeah.
So it's tough. We don't know what's going on, internally, but and it's also, it's like I would love to see what this maybe, I don't know if it's better or worse to show us what this would look like, because like, what if it looks absolutely mind blowing and they're like, yeah, it's dead though. Like, would that suck even more?
Or it just turns out it was the day before.
Or it was the day before, which is one of the big blunders, which I don't have on my story list.
That's okay.
But
Scam doesn't deserve any time. Although I like the game
true.
that came out almost immediately after. It's still in like early. It's not even early access. It's like closed beta. But
yeah, it's almost Fortnite.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
but there's like time stuff or whatever.
Like almost human or formerly human or was human. Like, yeah, I've been watching some streamers play it, and like I'm not into these crafty survival games, but this one looks cool.
Yeah.
Like you're spending most of your time just raiding these bad guy camps. Like, give me that. I think the one thing people are saying now is it's a little too easy. I'm like, no, give me that. Give me that version of it. But they were going up against like a giant, like it almost looked like a street shark thing where it had like a drill nose. It made
With like the buff shark?
Yeah, and it would like charge at you. I'm like, what the? So it's got some weird monsters in there.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah, give me that. It's like, it seems exciting. I'm willing to try it, but it is kind of MMO-y, so
Keep it easy. I couldn't get past the Elden Ring start menu, so
Yeah,
keep it
exactly.
easy for me.
It's a tough menu.
Papa Fonzie. All right, Gavin, we're going to end this year on the GTA 6 real reveal.
Do we want to show that?
No sound
It
for
is
you.
a
but-
looker. I tell you what.
So as we're watching, I'll go through a little spiel. Rockstar announced via tweet on December 1st that the world can expect the first trailer to GTA 6 in 4 days. Cut to a day before the trailer launched, the full video leaked via YouTube. Rockstar then launched the trailer a day early and absolutely dominated any gaming news that week. So the GTA 6 trailer racked up 120 million views in its first 72 hours and currently sits at 162 million views, 11 million likes. So if there's any question that this next game is going to be a juggernaut, it's all put to bed. It's just the trailer alone.
This is crazy. So, did you ever play Vice City?
Yeah.
So do you have some love for this setting?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is like seems like way more fleshed out where like there's other regions, which
Yeah,
I don't remember
yeah.
when I look back. Like I looked at people on Twitter post the map of Vice City. It's like really small. It's like there isn't like this, swamp area. Like they're not really expanding like they did here, and I just didn't think about it. But yeah, they're adding way more to Vice City.
That's and it's gonna be.
There's also, if we cut back to this this schmuck here with this dude, he's in the news because there's a real guy that this is sort of modeled after.
I saw it, and
Yeah.
he looks very similar to this.
Yeah, he's a freaking idiot, but he's now like, I want $2 million. You have 10 days to put me in the game, or like pay me whatever for using my likeness.
You're a
dude.
public figure, and also your lawyers do not have.
Do you have lawyers? They're lucky if they let you play the game, dude. Just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Luck, I guess.
But there's a lot of stuff I'm seeing in here that looks really cool. Like the hair looks really nice. I know
hair is
something I was impressed by. Like you see the details on the bikini that really show, like even around that, like it's not just painted on. Like they straight up put in the polygons to do the edges. And that's the level of fidelity we're at, where this stuff would just be skins before.
Yep.
And now we're straight up getting polygons. You can see the lighting that comes from this. I still can't tell if this is ray traced or not. I imagine eventually they'll have a version. They always seem, when they come out with their PC version, eventually they always make the specs ridiculous.
Which you mentioned PC, that caused a lot of drama because Rockstar confirmed, at least in this release year, there's going to be no PC launch.
Yeah.
It's only going to be on console, which that's how they always do it. It's always about a year
Yeah.
after. But in this day and age, people are really used to PC games launching day and date. So that's a bummer. But
It's disappointing, but it'll probably, And is it gonna have online mode right out the gate? Because I don't think the last
I don't
one
think
did.
No, it didn't.
And
It took a year.
They're always broken for a little bit after
Yeah.
release, but this is one of the biggest online games out there.
And I think even Red Dead Online, which they abandoned completely,
Yeah.
I think even that was 6 months, a year later. So
that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like going through the footage here, you see like this full street scene with a bunch of NPCs.
Yeah.
And I just love that. It's like if they can nail that, and this isn't just like hopefully their target, like if you can get this amount of activity as you're walking around,
Yeah.
it just feels like a really lived in, alive city. And it's nuts.
Yeah. I think another thing we'll get out the gate for this that we didn't with the last one is with the last one, you didn't get first person mode until it came to PC because they couldn't really cram in those details to be first person worthy. But this is so gorgeous looking. I'm sure they're going to give us first person mode. And that's how I want to experience this game, is fully immersed in this crazy version of Miami or whatever Vice City is supposed to be.
We're gonna get through this.
We mentioned first person. There's a quick scene of this like it's like the SWAT team, yeah. And they do show, and it could be like a cutscene or something, but they show a perspective that is so first person. So
and it's got the Aperture Science logo
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Not that apertures aren't just a thing. That
so Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Exactly.
Then you have like the street scene, like
Being a team.
yeah. I'm really hoping that they get close to this. I was maybe the only person on the internet bummed that when they showed this off, it was 2025.
Oh, sure.
For me, it's like if I go back to their last big games, Red Dead, maybe GTA 5, where it was like 6 months later. Like they weren't going to show it until it was basically ready.
Yeah.
I kind of in my mind trusted Rockstar to not show anything until it's like we're getting this soon, and then we get this, and we have a year now, year's worth at least of waiting.
I get what you're saying. I'm guessing they know some stuff. Maybe there's some hardware down the pipe, and like if the Switch is really as powerful as people are saying, like
You shut the fuck up. Let's see that.
coming on the Switch. So which means the Switch is coming in 20. When is this coming out?
2025.
Yeah, so Switch
We better have a Switch 2 by
to
then.
2025.
You got the twerk physics, which I'm absolutely on board for.
The twerk. I mean, those physics are hard. Like individual muscle physics, they don't like.
We've had it in the front for years, and Japanese games really are
Yes.
forefront. So it's time to move that to the back, and let's get it going.
It is funny though when you go back. So we have the independent boob jiggle physics. Like it is funny if you go back and look at old games when they don't have independent. So like they'll simulate one and the other one just does the exact same thing, and it's so funny.
We're finally in the future.
Yes, the future is now, old man.
And now this is trailer 1. They were very, obvious with that. So it's like we're gonna get more footage leading up to this release, which I'm really stoked to see. Like, here's an actual in-engine, running gameplay, focusing on the different regions and like the different abilities. Like, so they're gonna dominate this year with just making people wait for. Hopefully, what do you think? Every month it would be way too soon, right? So what? Every 3 months, 6 months?
Sure.
Maybe 6 months we get another trailer.
I mean, they don't have to do that.
No.
Like they're
But they're choosing to start it now. This is basically like the advertising starts now. So I'm hoping we don't wait another year before we see stuff, or like 6 months seems fair. I would like to see every 3 months. Would be great to see. Here's another little trickle of information.
Yeah. It's no, it's exciting. It's gonna be.
I'm stoked. We're still another year away, but at least.
Yeah.
But Gavin, it's an hour and a half. That ends our year in review.
We're back, baby.
We're back. We are back. Gavin, wanted it there for the week. Why don't you, I was going to say, why don't you send us off? But you can find us on TikTok, @PlasticArtPod. Gavin, why don't you tell them good night?
Good night, my babies.